Welcome to Joe's Astrology. This is the birth chart for Jamie Foxx. He's a Gemini Rising, Moon in Taurus, and a Sun in Sagittarius. And I first want to mention his health scare that he had recently. Uh, from what I can see, there was no disclosure of what it was, but we can see here it was back in April 2023, and Uranus down here, the planet Uranus here, he has it 29 degrees. 29 degrees Virgo. Virgo is the sign of health, illness, sickness, healing. And we see Uranus there at 29 degrees, the critical degree. And Uranus was transiting that moon when this health scare occurred. We can see the moon is also in the Virgo decan, 17 degrees, the second decan of Taurus, the Virgo decan. And we also can look at the ruler. What's the ruler of Taurus? Well, the ruler of Taurus is Venus, and Venus is in Scorpio, and it's in the sixth house. The sixth house often can act like the Virgo's, the sign of Virgo. It's the house of health or no health, illness, as I said, and many other things as well, of course. But we can see how that transit plays out in astrology. That something to do with Uranus, and it was something to do with his brain, I'm sure, because Uranus rules the brain, and we can see back here in the natal chart as well that many things in his life can be symbolized by the planet Uranus. We can see a person who's very individualistic, someone who lives a life where he's the center of attention, an actor, someone who it's very critical. We think of the 29 degrees being critical, that word critical. It's very critical for him to, and important for him to live out that planet Uranus. And of course, an actor like Jamie Foxx would have done that through his career, being someone who really stands out as being different, talented, a genius in his craft. But from a negative standpoint, there could have been some brain issues. Now, they haven't disclosed what it was. It looks like he's getting better, but we can also, from there, we can look at more of these aspects to Uranus, and we see Mars. Mars is in Aquarius, there in the ninth, and also Pluto was at 0 degrees when this occurred as well. Pluto had just entered into Aquarius, and of course Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. So it has that planet Mars in a sign that's ruled by Aquarius. You can see that Mars is making a trine to back to that Uranus in his natal chart. His Sun is also making a square to Uranus. And his North Node and South Node are an aspect to Uranus. So his North Node is there in Aries in the 11th. And his Saturn is also in the 11th, the house that is thought of as an Aquarian house, the 11th house, with the sign of Aquarius being the 11th sign of the zodiac. Now back to that North Node that is ruled by Mars and Aquarius, it's making an inconjunct. An inconjunct, it's making a Virgo inconjunct to that North Node. And also at the time of his illness, there was a stellium in Aries. Now what is this idea of being a Virgo inconjunct back to that Uranus is, has to do again with health. And what we're talking about here is a major health scare, health issue. So I'll leave that there for now. I'm sure there's more that can be said about that. I'm going to leave that for now and look at his Sun here in the 7th. and he is an actor, so of course we have to see Leo in the chart. We have to see Leo, Pisces, Neptune, and the Sun being somewhat prominent, and we do. We see the Sun here in the 7th house, an angular house, which is going to magnify the Sun, and it's in the Leo decan of Sagittarius. And I think the Sun, the Sun being in an angular house would be good for anyone who is an actor and actress. With Jamie Foxx, with looking at it being in the 7th house, he would have done very well with acting and in his career through the relationships that he's made. And I think there's even a story of him connecting with, I can't think of his name right now. They call him, Kanye West. Kanye West really, his career starting to take off when he connected with Jamie Foxx. And we also see that planet, as I said, the planet Neptune, it's in the house of work. And Neptune being a planet that can symbolize acting and performances, and we see it there in the house of work for Jamie Foxx. He also has the moon, that moon in the 12th house. So we can see that when Uranus coming through there in the moon, we can also show that there was a disruption, Uranus, a disruption in his career, 12th house. What he does, his career is obviously acting, being a performer. Of course, the 10th house is the career, but for him, the 12th house being a house of performances, that Neptune house, that Pisces house, there was a disruption in his work. Moon, 2nd decan there of Taurus, Virgo, that the sign of work, a disruption in his money. Taurus, the sign of money. I'm coming back to this. Speaking of this, the midheaven, the career. We see that his career house is ruled by Uranus in the sign of Aquarius. So more relationship with this idea of his career being disrupted. Of course, we see a career of someone who's, as I said, is a genius in his career, a very wealthy and famous person, Aquarius. But at the same time, could have some ups and downs, disruption with that. Back to this Sun here, that it was in the Leo decan. It's at 21 degrees. It's making a trine, almost exact trine to his north node, where he's headed. The south node is in Libra. Again, as I said, that emphasis on relationships. The south node is in the 5th, that Leo house of expression, creativity, performance. And the north node being in the 11th, goals and objectives, hopes and wishes, fame and fortune. That's where he's headed. And we can see that sun in the 7th making that easy flowing aspect, indicating what that sun is going to do for him, relating to that north node in the 11th and that south node in the 5th. He's going to do it through relationships. And even this idea that the south node ruler is Venus and it's in Scorpio in the 6th. Well, Venus in the Scorpio, he's coming from a place of, how's he going to do it? He's going to do it through other people's money, through underground scenes, Hollywood. Hollywood can often be considered something that to get into, you have to know people. You have to be involved in maybe some things that most people wouldn't be involved in, which I'm not going to get into in this video because it's more on the speculative side. One last thing for Jamie Foxx, the ruler of his rising there, his rising's in Gemini, the ruler being Mercury, and that Mercury is in the 6th house, in Sagittarius. So this is a guy who's a learner. See that Mars in the ninth as well. He's willing to work. He's got his mind. His mind is in the house of work. Self improvement. These are great aspects for someone in a field of acting who would have to be a learner, learning all those scripts, learning how to do things in the right way, or that in the way that the producer wants you to do it, being adaptable. Think of a Mercury as being adaptable. And then the third, if you look at the third house, it's ruled by that sun. The third house cusp is in Leo. You know, we think of the third house as being the mind. He's very much having that mind. What's on his mind? Well, it's again the idea of creativity, self-expression, performances, acting. 14 degrees. His rising is at 14 degrees. That's in that Libra decan. So more emphasis on air. It's kind of almost like a grand trine between his rising south node and Mars. Somebody that can get around easily, can be very intellectual. But I'm going to leave it there for now. That is Jamie Foxx, his astrological birth chart.